Tonight, you're leaving behind the noise of the modern world and traveling back nearly 700 years to a quiet winter morning in the year 1347. So dim the lights, settle comfortably beneath your blankets, and let your thoughts drift slowly as we enter a world lit by candles, ruled by traditions, and shaped by customs that have endured for generations. Congratulations! You've awakened as Sir Edmund Ashcombe, lord of a prosperous manor nestled among the rolling hills of England. From the outside, your life appears almost perfect. Your home is made of stone instead of wood. Thick walls shield you from the icy winds that sweep across the countryside. A dozen servants rise before dawn to ensure your comfort. Your stables house magnificent horses. Your wardrobe contains wool from Flanders and silk imported through distant merchants. Your dining table regularly displays foods most people will never see in their lifetime. To the peasants who labor beneath your authority, your existence must seem like paradise itself. But paradise, as it turns out, has strange problems. Because this morning, paradise has given you indigestion. As consciousness slowly returns, you become aware of an unpleasant heaviness in your stomach. Your head throbs. Your mouth is dry. Your limbs feel as though someone replaced them with sacks of wet grain during the night. You open your eyes reluctantly. A weak beam of winter sunlight slips through the narrow window and stretches across the rushes covering your chamber floor. The fire in your hearth has burned low during the night, leaving only glowing embers and the occasional crackle of dying wood. The world outside is still quiet, but not for long. Soon the manor will awaken. Servants will begin their endless duties. Horses will be fed, chickens released, bread baked, water drawn, orders delivered. And you, lord of all these lands, can barely sit upright without regretting every decision you made last night. Slowly, memories begin returning. Baron Geoffrey's visit. Ah yes, that explains everything. The man arrived shortly before sunset with his entire household. 30 retainers, 12 horses, 3 hunting dogs, 2 musicians, and an appetite that seemed personally designed to bankrupt lesser noblemen. Such visits are not merely social occasions. They are political events. Among the nobility, reputation means everything. Power is demonstrated through generosity. Strength is measured through abundance. And weakness is never forgiven. So naturally, your kitchens were transformed into battlefields. The cooks worked from dawn. Servants rushed endlessly between hearths. Spices worth a small fortune were used without hesitation. 3 geese, 2 boars, fresh river trout, venison pies, sweet pastries, imported figs, cheeses from France, honey cakes, almond puddings, and enough wine to fill a baptismal font. Throughout the evening, musicians played cheerful melodies while candles illuminated the great hall. Laughter echoed beneath the rafters. Stories grew more exaggerated with every cup. Baron Geoffrey boasted about defeating 6 French knights in a tournament. His son claimed to have hunted a wolf with nothing but a knife. And by midnight, everyone had become astonishingly brave, handsome, and talented, at least according to themselves. Including you, especially you. Somewhere around your 5th cup of sweet Gascon wine, it seemed perfectly reasonable to accept Baron Geoffrey's challenge to consume an entire honey-glazed goose. At the time, this felt like a magnificent victory. This morning, however, it feels less like a victory and more like a punishment devised by monks. You groan softly beneath your blankets. Immediately, the sound summons Thomas. Thomas has served your family longer than some kingdoms have remained peaceful. His hair has turned gray. His knees ache when it rains. And he possesses the remarkable ability to appear precisely when needed. He enters quietly carrying a silver basin filled with warm rose water. "My lord," he says gently. You appear troubled. You stare weakly at the ceiling. "Thomas." "Yes, my lord. If anyone mentions food before sunset, have them imprisoned." Thomas nods with admirable seriousness. "As you wish, my lord." Then, after a moment, he adds carefully, "Even Lady Eleanor?" You close your eyes. "No, never Lady Eleanor." A wise decision. Your wife possesses many qualities: beauty, intelligence, patience, and a terrifying ability to remind you of your mistakes without ever raising her voice. Outside your chamber window, life continues. Through the glass you hear distant sounds carried by the cold air. Axes striking wood. Dogs barking. Roosters announcing themselves to absolutely no one's benefit. Somewhere beyond the walls, cows protest being milked. Children laugh. The mill wheel turns endlessly beside the stream. For the peasants of your village, the day has already begun. And unlike you, they probably didn't spend the night attempting to consume enough food to feed an entire monastery. Perhaps, you think bitterly, they're the clever ones. Soon Thomas returns. My lord. Yes. Master Gilbert has arrived. Of course. Master Gilbert. The physician. The man whose confidence exceeds even his medical knowledge. Master Gilbert studied in Paris, which he reminds everyone about at least twice per conversation. He enters your chamber carrying his leather satchel with the solemn dignity of a bishop approaching a funeral. My lord. You wave weakly. Gilbert. He examines you carefully. He checks your pulse, studies your eyes, touches your forehead. Then he strokes his beard thoughtfully. You sigh? What is it? My lord suffers. Remarkable observation. He ignores your sarcasm. The humors are disturbed. Of course they are. According to Master Gilbert, everything is caused by humors. Headaches, fevers, bad dreams, sad thoughts, even baldness. Always the humors. Blood, phlegm, yellow bile, black bile. Invisible substances that somehow control the entire universe. You sometimes suspect physicians invented them simply because nobody can argue with things nobody can see. Master Gilbert nods wisely. Too much heat. Too much wine. Too much meat. Too much pleasure. You groan again. So my punishment is success? In a manner of speaking. He opens his satchel and removes a small bottle. The smell alone causes concern. What is that? A remedy. It smells like swamp water. Medicine often does. Will it help? Eventually. And until then, you suffer. Master Gilbert says this with the calmness of a man who isn't expected to drink the potion himself. Reluctantly, you swallow. The taste is horrifying. For several moments, you consider whether death might actually be preferable. Master Gilbert smiles proudly. The bitterness proves its effectiveness. You stare at him. Does it? Certainly. Then why not feed me mud? He simply ignores the question. After prescribing rest, moderation, and several herbs with names too difficult to pronounce, Master Gilbert departs, leaving you alone with your thoughts and your regrets. Slowly, you rise from bed and approach the window. Below lies your entire world. The village, the fields, the stables, the bakery, the smithy. Smoke rises from dozens of chimneys. Tiny figures move between cottages. A woman hangs laundry despite the cold. Two boys chase chickens. An old man repairs a cartwheel. And suddenly something strange occurs to you. None of them possess feather mattresses. None own silk clothing. None drink imported wine. None feast beside roaring fireplaces. Yet perhaps, just perhaps, they slept better than you did. The poor fear hunger. You fear overeating. The poor pray for meat. You pray never to see another goose. The poor work until exhaustion. You entertain until misery. Different burdens. Different problems. But burdens all the same. By mid-morning, the great hall below has been restored after the previous night's celebration. Dogs hunt for scraps beneath tables. Servants scrub wooden benches. Fresh rushes are spread across the floor. The enormous fireplace crackles warmly. And there sits Lady Eleanor. Calm, elegant, perfectly healthy, which seems deeply unfair. She looks up from her accounts and smiles. So, she says sweetly, how fares the conqueror of geese? You sigh heavily. I have been defeated. I suspected as much. She closes her ledger. Master Gilbert informed me of your suffering. The traitor. He also informed me that your meals shall be simple for several days. No. Yes. No goose. No. No pastries. No. No wine. Water. You stare at her. Water. She smiles. Water. You lean back dramatically. My love, I fear death approaches. No. She replies calmly. Death would complain less. And despite your misery, you laugh. Then immediately regret laughing because your stomach reminds you who's truly in charge. Perhaps, you think as snowflakes drift gently outside the windows and servants quietly carry out their duties. Wealth was never meant to free men from suffering. Perhaps suffering simply changes its clothing. And perhaps, somewhere beyond these walls, a peasant eating onion soup beside a tiny fire sleeps more peacefully than the lord who dined like a king. Still, your home is warm. Your wife loves you. Your lands prosper. Your children are healthy. And tomorrow, when this foolishness passes, life will continue. Though perhaps, just perhaps, with considerably less goose.